Hello, everybody. I'm so excited for my very first podcast with the guest. It's going to be with Angela Lewis, who is an amazing actress. Super duper excited. And welcome, welcome, welcome to Radish on the Runway. We are going to basically wait for her to come in the room. And I'm so excited to share with you all this podcast. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about motherhood. Talk about her being a wife. We're going to talk about Snowfall, of course. We're also going to talk about her diet. So we're just waiting here on her. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Radish on the Runway. I'm so glad to see you.
Yes, I'm glad to see you too.
It's been a while.
I know it has.
Yes. So Angela, first off, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you so much for being my guest on the show. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
How is Brooklyn?
Brooklyn is great. She is just growing and it's really been incredible to watch.
Wow. Yeah. So I just want to say to my audience that you are a new mom. Angela Lewis is a new mother. And how old is Brooklyn?
Brooklyn is 7+ months. She'll be 8 months. What month are we in? This is May. June 4th. She'll be 8 months.
Wow. She's growing up so fast.
I know. It's really incredible. It's like, whoa.
So tell me, how are you doing with the whole COVID-19, this new normal? How are you feeling and how are you adjusting to it?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's scary, but having a baby, it really forces me to be in the present moment and to kind of not face towards fear, but to really pivot away from it, because I can't raise her fearful, and I can't raise her if I'm afraid. There's already enough about motherhood that's scary. So,
Absolutely.
I just gotta know that, everything is working out as it always has, as it always will. And, we just do our best. And she's so amazing.
Aww.
And that, I can't help but be in joy. And, and then when she has her little tantrums, I can't help but be in the present moment, trying to deal with that. So it's really a beautiful time to be kind of in that space mm-hmm. of just, consciously aware that I have to be in the present moment. And, Hollywood is shut down. And so, we were in the middle of shooting season 4 and we are coming back. The plan is for Snowfall to come back. It's just a matter of when are we going to be able to get back into, the studios to shoot and finish the season. But, this time off has given me the opportunity to really be with my daughter 24/7 and to watch this really kind of critical time, the time between, when the baby is born and a year. So much happens so fast. And so I'm really grateful that I'm having the opportunity to witness, all of this development that, I would have noticed or not noticed. I would have seen the milestones, obviously, but just to get to be there and not get a phone call, oh, she made her first step, oh, she said her first word, like I was there, like that. It's incredible. So I'm grateful that it does have this really crazy, chaotic time has an upside for me. So I'm grateful for that.
I think it's great that you're looking at it as far as a positive thing as well, because I feel like all of us have been able to kind of slow down and just kind of like, spend time with our family, talk to our friends more. So it's kind of a plus in certain ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you did mention Snowfall, so I guess we can kind of dive into that. If you've been living under a rock, Angela Lewis is an amazing actress. not only you've done the Cold Black, I think it was.
Yeah.
You've done so much. Law and Order. Oh my goodness, the list just really, really goes on and on. But your breakout role, I believe, is Snowfall. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And I was able to collect some questions from some of your fans as well. So
Okay.
you kind of answered one of them. One question was basically, when is Snowfall coming back?
Yeah. You know, we were supposed to come back this summer. It's not going to be this summer.
Right.
But we are planning. The plan is for it to come back. It's just a matter of when. You know, we'll finish the season, and once the entire season has been shot, then they'll air the entire season. They're not going to air the episodes that we have already or anything. I think someone asked that online somewhere, and I was like, oh, and they were like, no.
Right.
So.
So, you know, these last couple days, I've already watched all the seasons, but the last couple days, I've been watching season 3 again, because season 3 was just so amazing. And your character was also so amazing. And there's a couple scenes that I want to talk to you about regarding your character as Aunt Louie, because I'm like, man, this is, to look at you. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. She is my cousin as well. If I did not mention it, Angela is my cousin. So, to be able to look at you not as my cousin, but as the actual character, just goes to show you how amazing you truly are. You know, you were just,
thank you.
There was one scene when you got called into questioning jail, and that scene, girl, I was like, oh my gosh. So my question to you is, what did you have to do to prepare for a scene that intense like that?
I mean, really, it was the hard part of that prep for me was to give myself permission to be vulnerable, to be that vulnerable. Because you can't do a scene like that and have reservations, you know, or what am I going to look like if I make this face, or what am I going to, you know, I just had to give myself permission to just let it all out, to let it go. And that can be very, very scary. Also, I was pregnant at the time.
Oh, you
and
were?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I spent a lot of time beforehand, like days beforehand and leading all the way up to the day, just talking to the baby and letting her know. I mean, at the time I didn't know whether it was a girl or a boy, but just letting the baby know that, you know, there were going to be some intense feelings and some intense talking and, you know, whatever that was going to happen, but that everything was really okay. And, you know, just letting the baby know that that's part of mommy's job. I'm an actor, and I'm, you know, going to be in all kinds of situations these next few months. Everything is okay. And letting the baby know that I was going to be checking in, you know, as a reminder. So that day, every time we went to a cut, I would go in the corner, and nobody knew I was pregnant. So I, you know, had to be I had to be very low key about it, but just stick myself in the corner and just talk to the baby and let the baby know I'm okay. We're okay.
Yes.
You know, it's break time, but we're going to go back to it. And it worked out. Nothing bad happened to the baby, and, you know, and she responded well. And now, even today, she understands that that's part of mommy's job. You know, even when I have to do self-tapes at home for auditions, you know, she understands.
That is absolutely amazing. And I love the fact that you were talking to her, because people don't understand that you can talk to your baby when they're in your stomach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. That baby, they'll sit on your bladder or be kicking you in a weird way. And I had to learn, just ask her to move, and she would move.
Wow.
So all you mamas to be out there, at least try it. It doesn't hurt to try it. You know, the baby is doing something. Just be like, baby, can you move over? They respond.
Angela, that scene was so intense. I actually watched it 3 times in a row.
Oh, that's
three times in a row because I was just like, this scene, it was like, I just can't explain it, but you're just so amazing. Like, I'm a fan of the show. Snowfall is such a great show, guys. If you have not seen Snowfall, you are truly living under a rock. You truly are. And I'm not going to say the name of the other show that's kind of popular that is no longer on the air, but it's better than that show. I feel like it's more raw. I feel like it's more realistic. So I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to put that out there like that.
Listen, thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
You know, we get compared to that show a lot. You know, I'm like, oh, I ain't mad. That means people are watching.
They're both great shows, but I just feel like Snowfall is just a bit more realistic to me. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do have some questions for you, and a lady here in Chicago wants to know, how did you have to prepare for the fight scenes?
Again, giving myself permission to just let it go, and lots of fight choreography, rehearsal. You know, I'm not a fighter, and I'm also not a stunt person, and so I really, you know, there's a lot of work and detail work that goes into stunt choreography and fight choreography and making sure that nobody gets hurt. And so the last thing I want to do is like rush through something or not understand the choreography the way that I'm supposed to and end up really, you know, kicking somebody or punching somebody or accidentally, you know, anything like that, that I'm more afraid of that than anything.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just a matter of really asking all the questions that I need to ask. And then after that, just trusting myself that I can do it. And
how was rehearsal with that? How was rehearsal? Like, how long did you have to rehearse did you have to rehearse a lot for the fight scenes? How did that work?
No, usually, it depends on how big the fight scene is. If it's a smaller fight scene, they'll call us in like a day before or 2 days before or something like that. And we'll rehearse for like an hour, hour and a half, you know, just all the details. And then on the day of, they usually will, you know, cut out a piece of time where they're, you know, a larger amount of time for us to rehearse on the stage, to have all the elements that need to come in and the background that's coming in and out, if there's background, or, you know, and then the lights and all that stuff. And we take it really, really slow until it's like, okay, go time, let's do it. So it is a process, but everything, you know, on camera moves much, much faster. So, you know, it's longer than normal, but it's still a very short amount of time.
Wow. And also, was there a time gap between that? You guys had 10 episodes for season 3, or was it 10? Was there a time gap between episode 9 and episode 10? Because I felt like you were bigger as far as your pregnancy. Was that your actual belly, or how was that?
That was my actual belly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it takes about a week and a half for each episode to shoot. And sometimes, like, if we shot most of my stuff for episode 9 at the beginning of that week, then there's like, you know, my stuff in the beginning of the week, and then there's like a whole extra, you know, half a week or the, you know, week really in between that. And then when the next episode starts, and then sometimes my stuff will come like at the end. So it could have been like 2 or 3 weeks in between my stuff in episode 9 and my stuff in episode 10. So
Got it. Because I was gonna say that's a pretty big difference.
And that baby, she was growing. So, she was not playing.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Emerson from Arkansas, she wants to know, if you had to play a different character, what would that character be? And who would that character be, basically? But I kind of know the answer to this because your character's so dope.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to play dope characters. I guess I would want to play the exact opposite.
Okay.
Maybe a comedy might be nice just to show my range.
Right.
Somebody who, it's funny. It's like I say the exact opposite, but usually all of my characters are on the same, like different sides of a coin, or, if a coin could be, an octagon or a hexagon, in 3D, all of my characters are somewhere on that, shape.
Gotcha.
And,
Gotcha.
yeah, but just, I would want to play something that's on a completely different aspect of Louie. So maybe somebody a little softer, funny. She probably would still have a kind of a tough side to her, but maybe she doesn't lead with that. Yeah, maybe somebody with a more affluent background, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay. Another question is, if you weren't an actress, what would you be?
Probably a teacher. I spent a lot of my years teaching. I started teaching dance actually when I was 15. I started as an assistant teacher, and then eventually grew to have my own classes. And then, I would teach dance and or drama in summer programs or after school programs. So teaching has always been my side gig. So yeah, I might be teaching.
Okay.
That's a big possibility.
Wow. I do remember years ago, this is probably like 7 or 8 years ago, when I was in New York with you, you took me to one of your auditions. And I thought it was like one of the coolest things. I was like, yay. Let's see here. Okay. Tiara from Chicago wants to know, how do you plan on transitioning back to work after becoming a mom while balancing marriage?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a lot of balance and juggling work that, you have to do. And you just go with it. It's kind of trial and error and in the moment decisions. You do the best that you can to plan, and then know that you'll figure it out as you go. Being a working actor on camera means long, crazy hours sometimes, and then sometimes you're working maybe 2 hours. You get to work and it's 2 hours, and sometimes it means you work every day that week, and sometimes it means you work one day or no days that week. And so it's hard to kind of plan ahead, but even in that, you just plan ahead. Sorry, lots of traffic outside. Make sure that the baby has milk in the refrigerator or the freezer for my husband or my sister to feed her when I'm not there. And then when I go back, she'll be almost a year. So the things that I was kind of planning for, when she was a bitty baby, we'll have to change the plan up a little bit. She'll be eating more solids then, and so I won't need as much milk and things like that. So and then I would say you just try to make time, always give your best in the moment. And so when I'm on set, I'm, 100% there. And when I'm home, I'm mommy and wifey and and when I cut, on set and got to take a phone call and call the baby or call hubby or, it's just moms are amazing.
Yes.
I have a whole new respect for working moms and a whole new respect for single moms, because if I was single doing this on my own, I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is great. Another question that someone wanted me to ask you is, well, you know what? I guess we'll wait until we get into that, but I have a question for you. As far as like, do you think you would raise your child to become an actress or anything like that? Or you just like, I just want her to do her own thing? Like, because I feel like once we pressure our kids, that's not a great thing. But how do you feel about your child becoming someone like you yourself?
I mean, I want her to be whatever she wants to be, and I don't want to push anything on her. And I also don't want to, stop her from following her dreams. I just want her to know that this is a long, hard road. You don't, I wouldn't want her to I wouldn't want her to work specifically because she's my daughter. I do think that there are pluses to nepotism, and, if I can help her get in the door, great. But I do want her to know that she has to train. She has to know her craft. She has to, study and work hard and take, constructive criticism and be able to, lovingly criticize her own work, be real with herself and all of those things. And this journey is long and hard and full of rejection, and is not for the faint of heart. And so it's important to me that she know that if, she goes the artistic route, but, and also I want her to be smart and excel academically, no matter what she chooses.
Absolutely.
I just want her to be able to have a really good go at whatever it is she chooses to do.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Another question I have for you is, how does it feel to be living in your dream? Like to actually be living in your dreams?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. That's the first, part of it. Like, this opportunity has changed my life. It's opened doors, and given me access to, the life that I've always dreamt of, and it allows me to even begin to start helping my parents and family members, but it's also been eye-opening. I think it's one thing to dream about something, and it's a whole other thing to be in the reality of what's behind that dream, what's behind that thing that we've always wanted. And I've had to kind of shift what my dreams are because of that, and so that is very, it's humbling. It's like just eye-opening, like, oh wow, okay, this thing is not what I thought it was, this glamorous, glossy thing. There's a whole other side to that.
Absolutely.
And at first I was disheartened about that. I was like, oh, but now it's like, oh no, I see it for what it is, and now I can adjust so that I can get out of it and out of life what I want, and continue to dream and continue to make bigger, other dreams. And my dreams apparently weren't big enough, because here I am, and it's like, oh, now I get to dream bigger and be and come from it from an educated perspective.
Got it. Got it. And your husband is also an actor, right?
Yes, yes,
And that must be great because you can kind of like depend on each other as well because he knows exactly how you're feeling at times.
right.
I
Yeah,
think that's awesome. You
yeah,
guys
it
are
is.
very centered people.
Thank you. We try to be.
um, what is some advice that you could give to an aspiring actress?
To just really know your craft and to know that it doesn't happen overnight. You know, one of the things that I've heard in the 3+ years that we've been doing Snowfall, you know, when we go on tour and we have talks with the audience, is people really think that you're supposed to just get rich and famous overnight. You know, it's like, wow, even rich and famous, there's a whole spectrum of rich and, you know, so, you know, one of my castmates, he tells the story of, you know, before Snowfall, he was a janitor. He was working as
Wow.
a janitor for 2 years. And then Snowfall happened, and he's, you know, 2 years. And where I don't, and we've talked about this, you know, before, but where I don't, you know, begrudge him his hard 2 years as a janitor, that's really unheard of. You
Wow.
get out of high school and then work 2 years on your side hustle and then blow up in a TV show. That never happens. Or
Right.
it happens very, very rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was working in New York for 13 years doing my side hustle as a cocktail waitress and bartender before, and then 2 years in LA. So, you know, I think it's important that people understand it's a long journey. And then there are some people who've been working 40 years, you know, or you book a show and then the show is over and then what? Or you
Yeah.
book a show and then the lead actor decides they don't want to do it and the show gets cut, you know, 2 episodes in and you think you ready for, and then it does, you know what I mean? So to just understand that it's a long, hard journey. And I believe that you should only do it if you can't think of anything else to do.
Right.
Because it's that hard. But if you love it, then act like you do and
Mm.
really give your whole self and really learn, hone your craft, then really ready to call you into an audition. Like, get up and find a way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I can say about you from, you know, me knowing you as my cousin is you are a go-getter. You are driven, you are
Yeah.
ambitious, and you go for your
Yeah.
dreams. And that's what I
Yeah.
admire about you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So let's talk about diet.
Yes, let's do it.
When I was in California with you guys took me to this amazing vegan restaurant. What was the name of that restaurant called?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. Was
It
it
was
Sage?
it was like a line. We were waiting for a while.
It might have been Sage.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That food was so good. So tell me about your diet. Tell me what basically got you into eating the certain diet that you have now and what you had before, basically.
Yeah. So, you know, let's see, we were here probably a year or two here in LA before we became vegan. And I think the beginning, I mean, you know, when you come to LA, it's just the opportunity to kind of clean up
Mm-hmm.
is just right at your fingertips. You know, in New York, I think the culture is, you know, how late can you stay up? How much can you party? You have
Right.
cocktails every, you know, and not that there isn't happy hour and cocktails all over the place here, but it's just, there's a different vibe and energy and the ability to get more on the meditative, spiritual path. Not that spirituality and meditation doesn't exist in New York, but it's a different thing.
Gotcha.
And so we were kind of on that journey of discovering, you know, the more green side of life. And the whole journey of baby began around that time. And and I say journey just in terms of the baby consciousness. Like I knew when I moved to LA that, you know, starting a family was a part of that, you know, journey. And so I was reading this book called Getting Ready to Get Pregnant. And I highly recommend this book. I cannot remember. I'll send you a text with the author's name, but Getting Ready to Get Pregnant is a book that changed my life. But it talks about all the things you should be doing if you know you want to get pregnant, so that your baby has the best chance, because by the time you know you're pregnant, so much has already happened with that little fetus that you kind of have missed a nice chunk of opportunity to give your baby the best chance at life. And so if you start beforehand, you know, you're really setting your baby up for success. And in this book, it talked about what meat and dairy does to the body. And I was just like, oh man. Now, right after that, or right during this time where I was reading this book, I happened to watch the documentary, What the Health?
Oh my goodness.
And Forks Over Knives. Yes. And I was like, so the three resources that have nothing to do with each other, that are essentially saying the same thing, which is meat and dairy run havoc on your body. And so I just felt like I come from a lifetime of eating chili cheese fries and chili dogs and hamburgers and all kinds of stuff. Maybe if and you know, I wasn't getting any younger, so maybe, and not only was I not getting any younger, but I didn't know when it was going to be the time to get pregnant and have a baby. Like this was really just the consciousness coming to me. And so I thought maybe I should give my body a break from the things that are not good for it, you know, and do it in an extreme way. I didn't want to like piece it out little at a time, because I felt like, you know, A, I may not stick to it if I do that, and B, you know, let's do it now. I'm ready to get this journey going now. And so what I did was my husband and I decided we were going vegan. But what I did was I didn't want to look at it as going cold turkey. I didn't want to look at it as I'm going vegan and that's it. I wanted to be more gentle with myself. And so I made it a choice. Each meal, I have a choice. I can do this vegan thing that I'm trying to do, or I can have some meat. And I wasn't going to beat myself up about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that was the way I was able to do it cold turkey, was because each meal was a decision. And I wasn't interested in kind of chastising myself about the decision.
Right.
And, you know, it just, you know, I remember it was Memorial Day.
Oh, wow.
And this was, I guess, 4 years ago? And we went to a friend's house, and they brought out they had a grill in the back, and they brought the chicken out, and it was sitting on the table. And I was like, this is like day one of being vegan. And I was like, oh, maybe we just start this tomorrow. I got to the end of that party, and I had not touched that chicken. And
oh my goodness.
Oh, I might be able to do this. So that's what I offer to everybody who's interested in becoming vegan. Like, just know why you're doing it.
Right.
And in each meal, make a choice. And if you choose to have some meat on this day, okay. And then what's your next choice after that? And what's your next choice after that? And if you're always conscious about what you're putting into your body, you will eventually start to do it to hopefully to be good to your body.
Right.
If you're serious. Remember that I was meditating at the time, like heavily, and it really was the journey to my baby. And I didn't get pregnant until 3 years later, intentionally. Well, that's a whole thing, but that's a whole other interview. But it's not like I became vegan and then in a few months I got pregnant and da 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 da. You know, there was a journey of listening. There was part of that journey, you know, because I had told the baby, because shortly after that is when I booked Snowfall, and I was like, oh, well, am I gonna get pregnant now? Like, now that I have this amazing job, am I going to stop to have a baby? But I didn't want to say no to the universe. I didn't want to be like, no baby. And so what I did was I said, okay, baby, wherever you are, you let me know when you're ready. When you're ready, I'll be ready, and I'll just make it happen, you know. And so 3 years later, the baby said that she was ready, and I said, okay. So I had been vegan for 3 years, you know, before we decided, okay, now is the time.
Awesome. And speaking of Snowfall, how did that work when you guys all went to go out to eat, or like if there was food that came to the studio, like how does that work?
So it wasn't until, I would say, halfway through season 2 and definitely all of season 3 that catering, and especially Crafty, kind of started catering to me a little more. Like, I would get to Crafty and there would be nothing I could eat. And, you know, it'd be dinner time and I'd be the same old salad every day because that's all I could have. And I just had to, you know, increase the volume of my voice and say, you know, hey, I'm vegan. I need some food. You know, you guys, there are, you know, delicious foods out there that can come to set, and I guarantee you, yes, it's California. And Crafty started first. The guys at Crafty were awesome, and I remember when they got, they brought wings for everybody, and they got buffalo cauliflower for me.
Ooh! And
I was shooting a scene. By the time I got to the scene, the cauliflower was gone.
No.
So, yes. And so I'm like, I'm the only vegan on set. And yet, and the same with like vegan pizza, they would get vegan pizza for me, like, you know, and sometimes I would have to get them to save me 2 slices because it would be gone. So people, vegans, but you know, if you offer people healthier options, oftentimes they'll take it, especially if it tastes good, you know? So.
It's too funny. Oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
Yep. And then this past season 4, catering, they were like, send us a list of all the products that you like, and we'll just have things for you. So they have been very cooperative, and I was very grateful for that.
Awesome. Okay, so the big question: your husband is also vegan, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so are you guys going to raise little Brooklyn as a vegan?
Okay, so here's the disclaimer. When I got pregnant, I was vegan, and in the second trimester, the focus really you always have to worry about protein as a vegan, but you know, as a person not carrying a baby, the whole thing about protein is so huge. Everybody wants to know, how are you getting your protein?
Yeah.
You're getting enough protein. Actually, we don't need as much protein as people think.
Right.
So, and so, you know, I wasn't really worried about it until I got pregnant. And in my second trimester, or in the second trimester, is when protein becomes a big, huge thing, you know, and I wasn't sure, because there are women who do their whole entire pregnancies vegan, like fully vegan, and the baby is great. But at the time, I had not thought about it, and I hadn't done enough research to kind of get recipes or to know, like, how to get that extra protein during pregnancy. And you're hungry a lot. And I was like, it's just not enough lentils. I can't. eat that many beans and lentils in order to satisfy, you know, the amount of protein that I need, contrasted with how much I'm eating. So I did add seafood back into the diet. But only seafood, and it's limited to how much seafood, you know, what kinds of seafood you can have when you're pregnant. And so we've kept that in our diets now that the baby is here earthside. And you know, because I am also still kind of providing the main I am the main source of nutrition for her through the breast milk. So I don't know if once she's fully weaned into solid foods, if I'm going to cut seafood back out, or if I'm going to stay pesca vegan. I say pesca vegan because we don't do milk and we don't do eggs, just the seafood and then fruits and vegetables. And I don't know if I'm going to raise her vegan because the last thing I want is for her to like get a little older and start going, you know, be in school and have a pizza party with her friends, and then she can't participate. House, and they go out for burgers, and her introduction to meat is McDonald's. Like that
that would be awful.
You know.
It
would be awful.
That would be awful.
So what? Yes. So the thing that I'm kind of tossing around in my head is how to what's important to me is that she makes conscious choices. You know, and so, you know, do I want to feed her give her occasionally the kind of meat that, you know, will do the least amount of damage to her system as possible, you know, and space it out in, you know, times where I feel like, okay, now we can try it again, and, you know, and to teach her about meat and what it is and how it affects your body, how you digest it and don't digest it. You know what I mean? And there's so much that I want her to know. Yeah. So, yeah, that it's still, we're still thinking about it.
Understandable. Let me just make this clear that with my show, I'm discussing different types of vegans, and people don't realize how deep veganism truly is. And that basically vegan does not actually mean diet. It means a philosophy as well that people don't understand that. So I just wanted to read this really quick to those people. So a pesco vegan is a valid subgroup of veganism coined by Olivia Mora in 2001 to describe those who abstain from all animal products, eggs, cheese, whey, honey, but do eat fish. So I just wanted to clarify what that definition was. So, you know, some people may get it confused with pescatarian. You don't eat any type of cow's milk, no dairy, anything like that. So yeah. And then another thing I was going to say about your diet, and like people don't understand that this whole veganism and this whole plant-based stuff is deeper than what you actually think. And you still would be considered plant-based as well, because as a plant-based person, you could eat all the most healthiest greens that you can and still have sea fish. So you're still basically considered plant-based also.
Right.
A lot of people
it's based in plants. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I know something, but she eating fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. And it was a big thing because for the longest time I was the only, again, vegan on set, and, you know, people were giving me a hard, my castmates were like, oh, you vegan, especially when we go on tour. That was really hard when we left out of, you know, Los Angeles. You know, when we went down to like Atlanta, oh my gosh, it was like almost nothing I can eat. I would be like, one year we went to St. Louis and I was like, does anybody believe in lettuce at all? You know? anything besides iceberg. Like, it was hard.
Oh my goodness.
And I
That
made it
iceberg
through, but then,
lettuce.
you know, I got, you know, some of my castmates who were giving me a hard time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Iceberg lettuce and ranch. That's what they wanted to give
Oh
you.
my
And it was
goodness.
just like, oh God.
That is like, I feel like the iceberg lettuce is one of the worst things that you can give a vegan. Like the iceberg lettuce with tomato, cucumber, maybe onion and ranch dressing. So like, no.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Oh my goodness. When we went to the family reunion in Arkansas, man, there was nothing down there. I was like, woo.
Yeah.
Their idea,
Yeah.
and not the family, but like I think we went to Waffle House. That was the only restaurant around. And I was like, well, can I have a salad? And the salad was that iceberg. They didn't even have tomatoes.
Wow.
Iceberg lettuce with some cheese and some ranch, and it didn't even have cucumbers. Like, there was no actual vegetable.
Gosh.
And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just gonna starve till I get back home. It was bad. It was really bad.
The next time I go to, like I mentioned before, guys, Angela and I are cousins. I think the next time I go to our family reunion, I'm just going to have to eat before I go. I mean,
yes.
Unless I try to help incorporate some vegan options, you know,
Right.
I feel like our family would be open to more vegan options, but
yeah, I think we should just sneak it in on them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because people eat it if it tastes good, and then you tell them later, "Oh, you know that was vegan." They go, "What?" And it's just like, yeah, we don't, you know, sit around eating grass. I mean, you know, if people want to do that, all, you know, more power to you. But I like things that taste good.
Right. I think I ate a lot of Taco Bell when I went down south because I was doing like the bean and rice burritos.
Right. But you know, it's interesting, you know, being vegan, the knowledge and understanding that you can still eat poorly and be a vegan. You know what I mean? Like, just because it, you know, wasn't made from an animal doesn't mean that it's actually healthy. You know, much processed food in our culture, and you know, and so, and especially in LA where there's so many vegan restaurants and people that offer vegan options, and now with Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger, you know, all of that, like things that, you know, are good on occasion. But when are you getting the nutrition that you need is also super, super important. So again, being a conscious eater. What am I eating right now? What am I eating? Okay, I'm going to have this Impossible Burger. I can't have another Impossible Burger tomorrow or later today. You know, I have a slice of cake today. It's vegan cake, but I can't, you know, have, you know what I mean? Like, we just got to keep things in perspective and continue to put whole foods into our bodies. Otherwise, you know, bad things happen.
Absolutely. How do you feel as far as like food is our medicine?
Yes. Sorry. Food is medicine, is everything. When you and you just need to really experience it, try it. If your body is ailing, try it. Try putting whole foods, doing green juice shots on an empty stomach. Like, your body naturally responds, and if you're paying attention, it's like, how can you go back to what you were doing before? Like, it's shocking. Shocking how your body responds.
Well, Angela, this has been a pleasure.
Yes, it has.
Thank you so much. Like, people were so excited I was going to have you on the show. People love your character as Aunt Louie.
Thank you.
I'm just so proud of you, and you're so amazing. And thank you.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you too. This platform is amazing. So thank you for this.
Awesome. Thank you.